This national treasure records a samurai's furious demand for payment. Imagine having to fund your own war. You spend your life savings on a horse and armor, betting everything on a payout. You charge the enemy first. You survive against all odds. But when you deliver the win, the government refuses to pay the bill. No reward, no honor, just debt. This is the true story of Takezaki Suenaga, the bankrupt samurai who was so furious at the system, he marched 600 miles just to scream at the general manager. But here's the twist. His official kill count was 0. So how did he, the first Kaurin in history, become a legend? Let's find out. After the battle against the Mongols, Suenaga returned home a hero, in his own mind. He had performed the glorious first attack. We can imagine his family's exhaustion as he bragged over dinner. Then the official reward list arrived. His name was nowhere to be found. Nothing. Outraged, Suenaga shouted,
"I made the first attack! I have witnesses!"
For a samurai, the first attack wasn't just glory. It was his paycheck. It was everything. Ignoring his family's pleas, he set out for Kamakura. To fund this impossible journey, he did the unthinkable. He sold his horse and harness. For a samurai, this was like a modern PC and cell phone. He vowed, if he failed, he would never return home. His first stop was to see his influential uncle, his godfather, or Eboshi-oya. The title literally refers to the eboshi, the black hat worn by all adult men, in public and private, to mark their coming of age. Instead of scolding the bankrupt warrior, the uncle threw a lavish banquet. While historical records simply mention courtesans were summoned, given the uncle's high status, perhaps they were shirabyoshi. These were enigmatic figures, dancers, mediums, and sometimes prostitutes who served the gods. To symbolize divine neutrality, crossing the boundary between male and female, they would often perform wearing the men's eboshi hat. The party was just the beginning. His uncle gave Suenaga, who was shunned even by his own family, the ultimate upgrade, a new horse, the Ferrari of its day, and the funds to journey. His advice was simple.
Pray at the shrines along your way. You will need the gods on your side.
During his journey, Suenaga remembered his uncle's words. Before reaching Kamakura, he paid his respects and prayed for favor at the Mishima Shrine, and then continued to the Hakone Shrine. Finally, on August 12th, he arrived in Kamakura, the heart of the shogunate's power, and made his way to the Tsurugaoka Hachimangu Shrine to prepare for his greatest challenge. It had been 2 months since his departure. In Kamakura, well-dressed samurai waited in long lines to present their petitions. Suenaga, a shabby country warrior, was repeatedly denied an audience. Yet he refused to give up, showing up day after day, a ghost at the gates of power. After 2 months of silence, his opportunity finally came. It's believed his uncle's connections finally paid off.
I'm on your side.
He secured a meeting with Adachi Yasumori, a senior vassal of the shogunate and one of the most powerful men in the country. The room was tense. Yasumori calmly asked,
"Did you take down any enemies, or did any of your men die?"
No, neither.
Suenaga admitted.
Then it does not qualify as a conventional battle achievement. The reports say you were wounded, and that alone is significant. What else is missing?
The record of my first attack was omitted. Do you doubt that I led the first attack? Please confirm with the commander.
Yasumori said, dismissively.
We have no precedent for that kind of confirmation.
Suenaga snapped.
Normally, we follow established procedure. But this is an unprecedented foreign war. If you hide behind no precedent now, who will risk their life to fight for this country next time?
The shogunate does not grant rewards unless the application follows procedure.
Suenaga shot back.
I am not asking for a reward. I only ask you to confirm the truth. If I am lying, please take my head right now. But if it's true, report it to the Shogun.
Silence filled the room. Yasunori stared at this desperate, broke warrior. He saw something rare, an unstoppable obsession, like an arrow.
Ha! I acknowledge your achievements.
I will inform the Shogun. There will be no mistake about the reward.
Suenaga's desperate appeal had moved one of the most powerful men in Japan. Before leaving Kamakura, Suenaga received a fine horse from Yasunori as a personal gift. He proudly recorded his rewards. Eventually, he reclaimed the lands that his relatives had unjustly seized years earlier. Yasunori is said to have remarked,
He will prove his worth in a time of crisis.
He was right, because the Mongols were coming back. The scroll now jumps to the second invasion. This scene depicts the meeting. Suenaga is interviewing a samurai who gained fame in this battle. This scene shows a massive stone fortress stretching 20 kilometers along the coast. This was Japan's answer to the first invasion. The samurai government, the shogunate, having learned a hard lesson, ordered this wall built to repel the invaders. We see our hero, Suenaga, riding along this incredible structure, passing through a pine grove. Watching him from atop the wall is another samurai.
Kikuchi Takefusa.
He nods in respect. Takefusa had helped Suenaga advance in his career during the first invasion. This scene depicts their reunion. While most samurai chose to fight from behind walls for safety, a few knew that true honor lay beyond that. These samurai were hailed as the bravest. This bravest samurai was Kawano Michiari. Suenaga drew this meeting like a medieval selfie with a celebrity. But look closely. Michiari isn't wearing his formal hat, eboshi. For a high-ranking samurai, this was a breach of etiquette, like showing up to a meeting without pants. But this was a flex. The Kawano family tradition. We are always ready to die, so we don't need fancy hats. Pure, fearless resolve. Blocked by the wall, the Mongol army retreated to an island called Takashima. There, they met a massive typhoon. This legendary storm, later known as the Kamikaze, or Divine Wind, annihilated the Mongol armada. The date is July 5th. The war is nearly won, and the scroll shows the Japanese ships setting out to hunt down the survivors. The boat is covered with shields to block enemy arrows. However, Suenaga is not on his own ship. Eager to rejoin the battle, he jumped onto another boat instead of waiting. Classic Suenaga. Now, for centuries, everyone believed these ships were sailing to Takashima, the site of the final battle. The scroll even gives us details about the boats, showing a unique oar design, similar to a modern rowing team, that allowed a speed of about 5.6 kilometers per hour. But then, historian Hideo Hattori did the math and realized something was terribly wrong. Takashima is 80 kilometers away by sea. At that speed, the journey would take over 14 hours. They would arrive long after sunset with no time to fight. It made no sense. This has sparked a fascinating new theory. The scroll may not be showing the long voyage to Takashima at all. Instead, it likely depicts a much shorter, faster strike against enemy survivors hiding on the nearby island of Shikanoshima. It's a reminder that even a treasure this old can still hold new secrets. The battle begins. True to his impatient nature, Suenaga leaps onto an enemy ship and strikes down 2 Mongol soldiers. Upon closer inspection, it is revealed that he is wearing an eboshi, a black hat. In his rush, he forgot one crucial piece of gear, his helmet. His brilliant solution? He strapped a Shin-Guard to his head. When another samurai offered to lend him a proper helmet, Suenaga politely refused, saying,
"If you were killed and I survived, my conscience would not be clear."
This is an example of the quaint social graces of medieval samurai in battle. Meanwhile, on the Mongol ship, we see a bizarre sight. A soldier pinching his nose in agony. The reason? The samurai were using one of history's strangest weapons, stink bombs. Not just a prank, but chemical warfare, boiling human and animal waste to create a blinding ammonia cloud. The scroll's incredible detail is what makes it such a vital historical source. For instance, compare this drawing of a Mongol anchor with the real one archaeologists pulled from the seafloor. The actual anchor, a 7-meter wooden giant, is a perfect match to Suenaga's depiction, proving just how fact-based this incredible record truly is. This anchor was unearthed near the central cove of Takashima Island, part of a crucial underwater archaeological site rich with artifacts from the Mongol invasions. But physical artifacts are not the only evidence. The war's legacy is also etched into the very names of the island's landscape. The southern part of the island preserves memories of violence. One site, Kubinoki, simply means neck removal and is said to be where captured Mongol soldiers were executed, their heads piled high. The trauma of the conflict also survives in a local legend. After landing at Funatozu port, Mongol forces reportedly killed nearly every resident. One story recounts how a family of 8, hiding in a secluded house, was discovered when their chicken began to crow. All were killed except for one elderly woman who remained hidden. As a somber reminder, it is said that to this day, no one in that region keeps chickens. The site is now known as the 7 Tomes of Hirakita. The northern part of the island is similarly marked by grim place names that recall the ferocity of the battles. There is Shuura, or Blood Bay, Kunzaki, the Neck Cape, and Doshido, a name that evokes a human torso. Elsewhere, Toyanohara, meaning the plain of distant archery, is said to be where Mongol troops were intercepted. Today, it has been transformed into the peaceful Takashima Mongol Park. One of the most mysterious scenes shows what were long thought to be Mongol soldiers bathing near a shrine gate. But why did Suenaga draw Mongols bathing? A modern historian, Professor Hideo Hattori, has proposed a stunning theory. They aren't Mongol soldiers. They are Japanese samurai. If you look closely, they're holding measuring ropes, likely surveying the terrain. Suenaga wasn't showing a random peaceful moment. He was recording a crucial act of samurai espionage. Ninja. Finally, the moment of truth. Suenaga presents his proof of valor, the head of a Mongol soldier. Coincidentally, the man judging his claim is the son of Adachi Yasamori, the official who first believed in him. Suenaga's honor is now in the hands of his benefactor's family. This shocking ritual of taking heads as proof of victory has a deep history, and we have a whole video explaining it. You can find the link in the description. Following this invasion, political strife erupted in Japan, and 2 patrons,
I will take my responsibility,
who had been Suenaga's greatest supporters, were assassinated. The point of contention was whether to recognize the samurai who fought in the Mongol Wars as legitimate warriors. These patrons sought to protect meritorious figures like Suenaga. It is said that these scrolls became a quiet tribute to them. His story didn't stop there. Suenaga's rise continues. The samurai era lasted another 500 years, and later generations, captivated by the man who survived the legendary war, copied and reshaped his scrolls, turning them into a lasting tale. In the 20th century, as European powers became more threatening in Asia, Suenaga was honored and posthumously granted the rank of senior noble. During World War II, the term kamikaze was used once more in an attempt to defeat the American fleet. Suenaga and the kamikaze both became national symbols of resistance. Now, talk of a Taiwan crisis has revived debates about Japan's potential involvement in future wars. Hopefully, Suenaga's promotions won't happen again. If you missed how a single arrow set all of this in motion, you can watch that video right now. It follows Suenaga, a samurai who survived both Mongol invasions, on his journey toward promotion.
help motivate us to make more videos by liking and subscribing. Thank you for watching!